me waiting for you to hit the subscribe button. Do it all still into your soul. Anyway, leave a like if you enjoy, and make sure to watch more videos on my channel. Or else. Oh wait, I'm recording. Sorry about that. I just really like Streets of Rage. After all, who wouldn't? From its combat system, characters, and music. And to top it all off, it's a beat 'em up game. One of the coolest genres ever. After all, we got the coolest games in this genre, like Double Dragon, TMNT, and Golden Axe. Wonder what games establish this iconic genre? Well, that's what we're gonna find out in today's episode of I'm game designer. Takashi Nishima is ready to make a game based on Hong Kong martial art movies. The game was mostly inspired by the 1984 movie Spartan X, or Wheels on Meals for non-Japanese audiences, which starred Jackie Chan as the hero of the film, Thomas.
Thomas, always goofing around.
Yeah, not the coolest sounding name for a protagonist, but I guess it'll do. Anyway, the plot of the movie revolved around Thomas working together with his friend Moby, played by Sumo Hang, and his cousin David, played by Yun Biao, that guy, as they tried to save Thomas' love interest, Sylvia, played by Lola Bona from a Spanish castle. The game, however, does not take place in a Spanish setting, but rather an Asian setting, known as the Devil's Temple, since it's based on the 1972 Bruce Lee film Game of Death, where Bruce Lee's character had to traverse a pagoda and fight martial artists on each floor, similar to how in the game you must defeat a martial arts master on each floor. Nishiyama was experienced at designing side-scrolling games, as he worked on a side-scrolling shooter for RM called Moon Patrol in 1982, but he replaced the shoot-'em-up mechanics for beat-'em-up mechanics instead. Sound designer Masato Ishizaki suggested Nishima must add his music to the game, but he was reluctant, as he thought that a martial arts game would only need sound effects and visuals. But Ishizaki proved him wrong with the music version, and they both decided that the music version should be the final product. Nishiyama and Ishizaki gave the game to be published by RM with the name Spartan X. Before we talk about the game's reception, let's talk about the game itself. A lot of the game revolved around Thomas saving Sylvia from Mr. X, but in order to do so, you would have to fight his underlings, such as the grabby grippers, the far-range knife throwers, and the somersaulting, even grabbier tom-toms. And if that wasn't enough, you had to also avoid hazards on even-numbered floors, such as snakes, poisonous moths, and freaking dragons. And the top of all off, you had to also deal with a boss at the end of each level, as well as hurry into the end of the level before time ran out. Good thing Thomas could punch and kick while jumping, standing, and crouching. The first and last ones requiring moving the 8-way joystick. But if you are looking to score some extra points, usually since if you needed the extra life that was awarded to the player after reaching every 50,000 points, it would be wise to throw punches. Even though they have a shorter range, they are stronger and give more points to the player. Back to the bosses, or Sons of the Devil as they're called in the intro. There were 5 in total, including Mr. X as the final boss on the 5th and final floor. Bosses' names and fighting techniques in order are Stick Fighter, a bow staff wielding fighter, Boomerang Fighter, a boomerang wielding fighter, and a gigantic hard hitter named Giant. Starting to notice a pattern of these names. Anyway, he's followed by Black Magician, which sounds like a knockoff Dark Magician, who can blast fireballs that turn into even-numbered floor enemies. And the main big bad himself, Mr. X, an opponent that can not only block and attack, but he can also attack with varying speeds, ranging from slow to fast. When you're in a boss fight, it temporarily becomes a one-on-one fight, and the boss themselves have health bars just like the player. But if you manage to get through all of that, you can finally save Sylvia and play the game at a higher difficulty, as most games tend to do at the time. Well, the game does sound and look fun, but what did people back then think about it? After it was released in Japan, Spartan X was listed as the top grossing table arcade cabinet from 15 January throughout February 1984 by Game Machine. Very impressive for a game adaptation at the time. Sure, its popularity dwindled a bit, but that was gonna be fixed soon as Shigeru Miyamoto from Nintendo helped make a Famicom port for the game, as he wanted more skills at developing side-scrolling games as he was working on a side-scrolling platformer. Weird. Why does the name of that man and his concept sound familiar? But I don't know why. Well, let's not waste time thinking about that, but instead let's keep talking about Spartan X. As I was talking about, the game had a Famicom port that was released on the 24th of November. It sold 1.42 million copies. It's clear everyone loved this game. Well, at least everyone in Japan, that is. Out for the rest of the world. Well, considering its success in Japan, it obviously performed well worldwide. Its NES version, Kung Fu Master, sold 3.5 million copies worldwide, and it was listed as one of the top grossing arcade game cabinets in many magazine charts. With its replayability value and its unique mechanics, it was clearly meant to achieve greatness from the start. How did it impact the gaming landscape though? It gained a few sequels and many, and I mean many, successors. As the beaten up genre grew, many games in the genre such as Streets of Rage used mechanics from Kung Fu Master such as the health bar and side-scrolling, and perfected them by giving random goons health to make them tougher than the 1 to 2 hit goons in Kung Fu Master, and giving the player a way to replenish health through food, while also giving players the option to move up and down stages instead of the wall ride that Kung Fu Master did. Many games tried different settings and mechanics to set themselves apart from others, which made most of them arcade classics in gaming history. Beaten-ups weren't the only thing this game inspired though. As you remember earlier in this video, I mentioned that Shigeru Miyamoto guy who wanted to make a platformer game. Well, if you're a Nintendo fan, you'd probably know that game Miyamoto was working on was Super Mario Bros. Miyamoto stated that working on the Excitebike and the Famicom port of Kung Fu Master helped him to know how to design side-scrolling games, in this case Mario. But if you think video games are the only thing that this game inspired, you're surely mistaken, as the Muscle Tower arc from Akira Toriyama's Dragon Ball was inspired by it as well. Oh, it also inspired a French movie directed by Agnès Varda, the same name of its international name, Kung Fu Master, with an exclamation mark, where a divorced mother had feelings for a 14-year-old gamer? Yeah, pretty weird, but hey, points for creativity. Kung Fu Master will be remembered throughout history as a great game, a blueprint for beaten-up games, a helper for Mario's creation, and a plot device for a movie about a cougar breaking child rights laws. Yeah, probably not the last one though, but we must keep its legacy alive by talking about it every once in a while. Well, that's all I have for today's episode of The First in Gaming. I'll be back with another one, and feel free to leave a suggestion for an episode by replying in the pinned comment below. Anyway, later nerds.